What's up, guys? Welcome to Sketch Day. I'm just trying to get through a little technical difficulty here, so bear with me. Instagrammers, I'm gonna blank your screen for a sec. Old-fashioned way, so you don't see all my files. Can't have that. Alright, let's see here. Okay, I think I'm good. Sweet. Welcome to Sketch Day Live. I am Spencer. What's up, YouTube? You guys can catch this on the YouTube if you go to youtube.com/sketchaday.com. We do this 3 times a week. Let me know if you can hear me okay. As always, we are making changes, tweaking things. I will not be accepting requests to join the video today, Instagram, but thank you for your enthusiasm. We are doing a little Photoshop today. Oh, there we go. Here's my face. We're doing a little Photoshop today. So I'm going to be, let's see here. Let's start recording because I forgot last time. So I'm just going to be doing Photoshop Sci-fi Sunday. So anything sci-fi related I will do. I've already seen a request for a car, but unfortunately I will not be doing that today. Maybe if we have time at the end, but I'm planning on about 2 sketches using Photoshop. So that's what I'm using. If you're watching on the Instagram rather, you will not be able to see as much. On YouTube, you get the direct output of my screen here. Before we start, old school right here. Before we start, I just want to give a special shout out to Matt, Chad, Mushtaq, Hussam, and Roshan for their contributions this week. Super awesome. You guys came through, made donations. If you want to help, I do have a Patreon. I also have PayPal, Venmo, that good stuff. Mostly because you guys have asked in the past, what's the best way to contribute, help out, all of that good stuff. So those links are in the video frame if you're watching on the YouTube. Check it out. Let me just get my brushes window here. I will say, if you use Photoshop, I've got some good stuff coming your way, so stay tuned. In the meantime, let's go ahead and start warming up. So, like I mentioned, I'm going to be using Photoshop. A little bit rough today. I've been 3D printing, doing a bunch of other stuff, testing out some new brushes, and all that good stuff. So, let's go. Alright, first things first, I'm going to need to warm up here. Didn't get the pencils though. I need to get that pencil over. So let me, I'm working on 2 different computers and I couldn't get the Adobe Creative Cloud library to work for me. So we're gonna do this the old-fashioned way. Just a sec here. Let's go ahead and export these guys. Where are you? Export selected brushes to my iCloud. I'm just going to give it some junk name. Now you've seen all my files. I'm going to add some brushes. Let's see, import brushes. Let's go iCloud Drive. Avert your eyes. Alright, so I should have these. There we go. Super messy, but they're there. Tiny screen. Okay, so I'm using a Cintiq 16, not the Pro version, just a Cintiq 16 if you're curious. Check in on the chat. Let me know where you're at. Roshan, what's up? No, I wasn't sanitizing. I was using lotion because people criticized me in the past. They're like, oh, your hands are so dry. So I usually lotion up, which I guess looks a little bit weird, but hey, I get to spare you the experience of seeing me draw with super dry hands. As always, I will be uploading the replay of today's live, not on Instagram. It'll be on my YouTube, so if you want to catch that, check it out there. I think, you know, we'll hang out for a bit if you're on the YouTube or the Instagram rather, hanging out. We will, I'll make sure there's a replay for you. So let's see, I'm trying to decide which pencil here. I'm just kind of experimenting with a few different thing. So I'm going to go with the clean pencil for now. And we'll just start by warming up. So just a little info, I guess, about how I like to work. So if I'm working on a tablet, I like to have my, let's see, if you're on Instagram, I like to have my hand on the keyboard, but I have a keyboard off to the side. And then I'm working on this thing, Cintiq Pro, okay? It's super awkward streaming on Instagram, but I know a lot of you guys hang out there. If you want the real deal experience, the best place to be is on the YouTube, okay? All right, so first things first, let's warm up. I'm gonna do some straight lines. I'm just sketching on, I guess, the equivalent of A3 or a tabloid sheet right now. Actually, I think I'm going to reduce the DPI on this image because it's making my laptop chug here a little bit. All right, so I'm down to 200. If you're printing this, you really don't need too much pixel data, so just FYI, I know everyone likes to make their files big, but it does kind of slow things down from time to time. Let's see. Okay, so straight lines. Thank you, Latrice. Tom, what's up? Special shout out as well to all the Patreons. You can sign up at patreon.com/sketchaday. I will be sending out stickers to our new Patreons this week. I believe that's Matt, one of our new Patreons. David, what's up? Thank you. Okay, now let's do some circles. Just make sure, okay, YouTube is seeing the right thing. Sometimes I get a little tripped up on my inputs, outputs, and all that good stuff. So the idea here, just get my muscles flowing. I am using my shoulder and elbow to draw. Super important if you want good line quality. Something I've been thinking about is how I draw digitally as opposed to on paper. I've noticed there's a difference, and I can't quite put my finger on what the difference is. But something about it makes me just a little more hesitant than I normally am with pen. So that's something I need to figure out myself. Okay, ellipses. Let's go. So I can rotate the tablet, which I'm doing here. You guys can't really see on the overhead. Not yet, but now you can. So one of the things you can do with the tablet is you can just rotate it, and then that way you're able to draw the angle that's most comfortable for yourself. Wow, we got a super active chat today. What's up, everyone? Okay, we got bug alien type thing. I wanted to do a spaceship or maybe some sort of painting of some sort. There you go, Instagram. That's my low-tech way of telling you where to go. If you want to catch the full stream right there. Okay. Let's see. So yeah, hey everybody, what's up? I'm having a fantastic weekend. I've been busy making a lot of stuff. I did some writing, hung out with my kids, hung out in the backyard, met my grumpy neighbors. It's all good. Super fun. Alright, so even though I'm sketching on a tablet, I do like to warm up still. Super important. Like I said, I'm just going to throw these on new layers. Let's do our final warm-up. If you've watched the stream before, you've seen this one. Let's go ahead and actually rotate the canvas a little bit easier in this instance. And now, just sketch some ellipses. The idea here that as I progress down the page, I want to open these ellipses up. Super exciting this week. Scott Robertson, I don't know if you guys follow him. He's kind of been a little quiet lately, and it was a timely return to the socials. I had a not rough, but interesting week, making some observations about sketching online, and anyhow, it was cool to see Scott come back and throw it down old school. No filter, the real deal. He says he's kicking off a little bit of rust, but so far I'm like, man, you're good. Super inspiring. Anyhow, So warming up with some ellipses this way, and now this is the part that you guys have seen. Actually, the cool thing I can do here is I can drop the opacity, and since we're working digitally here, but just to show you guys the value of all this, here's an ellipse. Let's do one right here. Add some quick spokes to this ellipse, one in the back. I guess I could do a different type of vehicle this time, but just to show you, I know someone asked, hey, can you do a supercar? Here's your supercar, okay? I will do some sort of whatever. They all kind of look the same anyways. You know, if the cab is a little bit more forward, then you get more of a supercar, but I'm not going to do a full rendering or anything like that. Just want to show you guys the value of warming up, some tweaks on your proportion, and there you go. You now have your super quick supercar sketch. I guess it kind of looks a little like, I don't know. They all look like something. Everyone's always like, oh, that looks like a, and then insert whatever car brand there is. That's because it's really hard to do something different with cars. Tell you what, they're just so ubiquitous, and almost no matter what you do, you get some sort of association or reference. Sorry guys on the YouTube, I forgot to come back to the screen, but there you go. super quick warm up. This tablet is not touch enabled that I'm using. Questions are acceptable on Instagram, but I can't promise I'll answer them. But if you want the full stream, there's a URL. All right, so first thing I want to do is just kind of play around with some imagery. So I'm gonna jump to my downloads folder here on my laptop. Let's see, and this is just, let's work with this one. I guess I always kind of do some sort of building thing, but this is actually just not too far from where I live, so it's pretty cool. And I saw this building and I'm like, wow, wouldn't it be cool to turn this into some scene or something? So I'm just gonna play with the levels here a little bit, just a little bit. All right, something like that. And I need more clouds, so let's go ahead and fudge this. I'm trying to think of the best way here. I could do a selection and then edit. It's not letting me do it. Oh, I think I need to rasterize. So let me rasterize this layer. Edit content to where fill. It's gonna pull from everything here. Hit OK. And it should give me clouds. If it doesn't, I'm gonna be mad. There we go. So now I got my clouds all the way to the top. Fake enough. And on top of this, we'll just take our, normal brushes and let's just sketch something in real quick. So I've got a little stencil here for the PS, Photoshop. We'll use that to start. Let me sketch with a white or very light gray, something like that. I'm gonna sketch in white. So I was thinking, wouldn't it be cool if this old building was juxtaposed on some sort of modern structure? Roshan's asking if I've seen the movie Oblivion. Yes, I have. Yes, I have. To sketch like Daniel Simon, I have to do 3D underlays though, because that's what he does. So I don't think that's something I can or will do live today. But yes, he's super talented, that's for sure. So I'm just trying to follow the perspective, right? So if I map these lines out like so, okay, I can start to imagine or envision some sort of structure attached to this old abandoned building near my house. And we'll make some additions here, cables, lights, whatever we got to do. But just want a nice rough sketch in place. Some sort of volume. Every time I run, so this is one of the buildings I see on my route, and every time I run by it, I think, man, someone needs to turn that into a hotel or something. Super cool. Alright, so maybe we'll sketch something like that. What's up, Tom? Hello. Yes, Tom is sketching shoes. I gave him an assignment on the Discord. We have a channel called Show Your Work on the Discord, and Tom shared some shoes, and I was like, all right, bro. I didn't say all right, bro, but I said, I'm going to give you an assignment. You're going to sketch X number of shoes, X number of times, and then let's see how you do. So hopefully that's been going well, and you're seeing progress. The idea there being, you know, the progress we see is oftentimes a result of the effort we put in, and sometimes you got to go more than just sketching something one time. Like, you have to sketch it multiple times so that those proportions or elements or things start to stick in your head. All right, just getting a quick underlay here, guys. This is Sketch a Day Live, Sci-Fi Sunday. Thought it'd be fun to perhaps add to this structure nearby where I live. So I'm just making a plan for perhaps some elements that I can put in here. Turn this into some sort of scene. Have I tried using Adobe Photoshop on iPad Pro? No, I haven't yet, actually. I haven't heard great things about it, so I haven't tried, but I do have access to the Illustrator beta. I don't know if I can say that or should. So I've been playing with that a little bit, I should say. What's up, Rodrigo? ¿Cómo estás? Latrice, good to see you as always. We are missing Lynette, though. Lynette is usually here. The Discord server, Valentine, is listed on the YouTube video. So if you go to the YouTube, everything is there. Everything, all the answers to your questions are at that YouTube link. I know you all got YouTube on your phone, so don't be like, hey, he wants us to go to YouTube. How annoying, or whatever. Okay, so maybe there's some sort of, I don't know, structure things here, communications towers, whatever this building is. You know, you could have a vehicle parked out here, whatever. We're just gonna use this as a guide to kind of paint some stuff in. One of my favorite cities, one of my friends asked me this week, what's one of your favorite cities? And I said Hong Kong, but I also love Taiwan. If you've ever been there, a lot of the buildings, they have conduit, things on the outside. It's just very, what shall we say? It's like unabashedly cyberpunk in the appearance of things. So you've got cables, conduits, whatever. So we could use that as a template here, maybe for some of this stuff. Also just watched, I haven't finished it yet, but part of Rise of Skywalker. Despite how you feel about those movies, they serve as pretty good inspiration if you're doing anything kind of sci-fi. Super fun. We might be able to replace these trees or move these trees, something like that. I'm also fighting a little bit with some glare on my screen, so my apologies if I'm a little bit slow today. I'm going to try and move faster than the car we did last time. Got some feedback that it took a minute, meaning it took too long to finish. So hoping to finish that up a little quicker today, but as always, just having fun. Okay, so I've got kind of a base sketch here. I may change this. Feels a little bit heavy on the left side, so let me erase a little bit. Here, let's see. Yeah, it felt a little bit heavy on the left. Just keep it rough. Yeah, maybe there's some like tube, conduit, whatever, that goes into this guy. gotta figure out how to finish this side though. That I'm not sure about. So probably leave this for now. Okay, we got some structure under here, which is good. So that's not floating entirely, but yeah, I'll work on it. Okay, so now I can drop the opacity of the layer down, even invert if I want. Oops, invert if I want, just so that I can see a little bit better. Or just drop the opacity. The fast way to drop the opacity, by the way, if you're watching on YouTube, you'll be able to see this. So here's my keyboard. I can actually press 1 through 0 on the keyboard, and that's going to help me move through 10% to 100% in terms of the opacity. Yeah, I'll fix the vanishing point, Rodrigo. Good call. All right, so Rodrigo made a good observation that my vanishing point on the left is off. So let's go ahead and make sure we have that nailed. Okay, so there's kind of the direction of things, and what's happening is the top is going like so. So what needs to happen is I just need to pull this in a little bit so that it feels more like so. All right, so I'll fix that as we get our painting in, but I appreciate the call out. Good call out. I like to think I'm always learning here. I'm not putting out perfect stuff. If you want perfect stuff, there's people who do that. You can go check that out. But we do this together, so thank you. All right, let's merge these down. Okay, so now my sketch lines are all on one layer. And what I'm going to do here now is, so we have this house or thing, and I'm going to test Photoshop here and see if it works. So let's do select. I'm going to try something. I haven't tried this before, but let's do select subject. Okay, and let's see if it picks the house. All right, so it's doing its best to pick the house. And if you don't know that command, you should get to know it. It is amazing. If I hit Q, it's going to give me a quick mask, however, and I can just come in and quickly, let's see, let's pick just a generic brush here, but I can quickly paint and modify this selection, like so. So whatever you paint in black will be deselected, whatever you paint in white will be selected. So you'll notice that my color in the palette, I'm switching, change the brush size, whatever you got to do. We're just going to try and move fast here. So I don't want these bits selected. Just like that. You can also, I hope this works. Let's see, select. Trying to remember how to do this. Modify, nope. Give me just a sec. I think it's edit. Anyhow, there's a command to refine edges, but I'm not going to worry about it right now. Maybe one of you guys know, one of you guys who do tons of photo manipulation. I used it the other day, but my memory is like a sieve, so I'm just going to do this the quick and dirty way. Make a selection there. All right, so now I'm going to copy this layer, duplicate, paste down, whatever. Diana is asking about reviewing 3D CAD software in iPad Pro. I could. So far, I'm not impressed enough to say it's worth my time to do that. So we'll see. All right. So I've gone ahead and looked at the image here, and what I'm trying to do is play off the lighting from the scene. And since my structure, I think, will be gray or some offshoot of gray, I can just pick a gray from the scene. And now start to, oops. Okay, so pick a gray here, like so, and then on this new layer, Actually, better yet, let's use the polygonal lasso tool and we'll just map out the colors. Just get a rough shape in. There, Rodrigo, I fixed it for you. Alright, so now I've got this color blocked in, like so. Paint in the rest here. Alright, and there's our sketch. We can turn it on or off. And I'm gonna lower the opacity even more on this sketch. And whenever I'm doing these, a lot of times I'll just use the polygonal lasso tool because, well, it's pretty fast. I actually didn't need to block that out. But here, for example, these areas that are a little bit shadowed underneath the structure, I can make a new layer, fill it with black, and then modify the opacity to get what I want. Although, okay, it does need to be behind this layer, right? I also have some stuff I need to cut out here, so this feels a little bit more plausible. And once we have our base colors in, I'll start to just paint on top of it, add textures, all that good stuff. Thanks for joining. This is Sketch-A-Day Live. This Sunday. What day is it? I don't even know. May 17th, I think. Rodrigo says, I've tried to do the same exercise and I have problems matching the photo. Yeah, if you... So you have to think in terms of value. So, oops. If you... Why is that not working? Ah, that's why. Okay. I got my sky here. So the sky needs to be right there. Alright. Let's merge those. As long as you're thinking in terms of the value, the color value of the image you're working with, you can change the hue and you're fine usually. And this is something you can even do with a mouse. So because I'm using the polygonal lasso tool, right, and now I may want to kind of modify the boundary here. You know, if there's, let's see, let's make sure opaque. Okay, so I may want to like come in and add some variations if there's stuff, you know, so it's not a perfectly straight line. On Sundays, I like to do sci-fi stuff, so that's what we're doing right now. If it's not your cup of tea, you're in luck. We do this on Wednesday as well, and on Friday. Got a bunch of shows for you. Alright. Sometimes we do nature on Sunday as well. I've been thinking about doing some watercolor painting. Lots of exciting things happening. I'll just say that. Lots of exciting things. Alright, so we got this pipe thing. I guess I could... No, I'm not going to. I was like, I could construct a perfect ellipse and do all this stuff, but let's just keep it fast. And I'll rename this and call it Sketch Scribble, because that's what we're working with. If you are watching on the YouTube, I am on, Instagram. I'm on YouTube, where you can catch the full thing, okay? If not, it's all good. It's cool. We can still be friends. Alright, so I've got some base color down. Let's turn this off, see how we're looking. Alright, and again, the goal here is to kind of match the shade, tone, color where possible. So here I'm trying to imagine, you know, like if this thing is sticking off, what does that look like? Make sure I'm on the right layer. I do have a layer that is black, which is this layer, and the opacity is just modified. And with this layer, I can start to draw in details on top of the whole thing. Okay, so if there, let's see, if there's some sort of cutout here, for example. You can fill that in. You can add some part lines. Some sort of structure. I have no idea what the purpose of the structure is. Maybe it's some sort of generator thing. I have no idea. If this is your first time to the stream, be sure to hit subscribe, turn on alerts. I also upload the sketches at the end of the stream to the Google Drive. Okay, and that link is in the YouTube video description. It has sketches going all the way back to January. So if you've missed a stream, you want to know what kind of things we sketched, you can find the date and then go from there. Alright, so that's what we have so far. So now let's start painting with some light. You know, maybe we have some light catching edges that we need to put in here. And I'm going to pick the roof on this guy because I do want to exaggerate a bit of the lighting as well. Just want a new layer. Now I can play with different brushes. Let's see, I'll just use a generic soft brush for now. I don't think my brushes I've been working on are ready for prime time yet. Alright, but here, just taking some white, paint the edges. Okay. And you can play with the opacity and also the blending mode. Okay, play with the opacity, blending mode. Start to pull out things in your scene. If something needs to be a little darker, you can do that as well. So this undersurface here probably would be a lot darker. Along with that, I'm going to go ahead and increase the contrast of some areas on my sketch. Just make sure this blending mode is set. Interesting boat that landed on that house, or what? Or is that not what's going on? Thanks, Remy. Thanks, Mao. Welcome. Just doing something a little different. Once I get the base color down, it's a lot easier. People always, sometimes I should say, people ask, oh, have you done, you know, stuff for movies, TV? Yes, I have. I certainly have. So this is partly the process if I'm doing that. All right. Okay. So I just want to, on top of this, start to add, you know, maybe there's some other stuff happening. Cables, conduit, whatever. I'm just blocking it in right now. base color. And now I can start to just paint in other things. Keep it super sketchy. Almost made another mistake there, Rodrigo. But now that you pointed it out, I'm like on edge. Can't have Rodrigo calling me out again. Rodrigo. Sorry, I'm terrible. But I mess with him all the time. So Sketch-A-Day Live, thanks for joining. Being here, being a part of this. So I think at this point, I'm just gonna start just value painting, as it were, just pulling out details where I can. I'm assuming a 2-point perspective just for the sake of simplicity here. So all my vertical lines are actually vertical, as opposed to a 3-point perspective that would have more of a taper. Maybe there's some stack on the top here. I don't know. I'll play with it a little bit. Alright, so now I've got that in the scene. Let's see. I really do have to decide what I'm doing with the front. I have no idea, frankly. So let's go ahead. Black. And just in here, kind of figure out what's happening. Maybe there's some other windows or things on the structure. Hope you guys are having a good weekend. I am. Beautiful, beautiful day. Morning so far. I guess afternoon now. All this stuff I'm going to back off on the opacity. We're just going to keep layering and building up. We'll eventually have some good texture, contrast, all of that good stuff. Fear not. Sketch-A-Day Live, thanks for joining us on Sci-Fi Sunday. Geese says, seems legit. Well, thank you. Thank you, Geese. I think you're in the Netherlands, right? If I remember correctly. Somewhere there. I don't mean to put you on blast and have people show up at your door, but trying to remember. All right, I'm hoping this turns out good. I don't know, just because my tablet screen has tons of glare right now, so it's kind of hard for me to see a little bit what's happening. So I hope it's turning out okay. Create a little texture here. So I'm trying to wait to use like my main tricks, textures, all that stuff that I pull in till the very last bit. Okay, see how far I can get with just my brushes. I've gotten a lot of requests for Photoshop brushes, so I'll just say stay tuned on that one. I don't mean stay tuned today, but, you know, make sure you're subscribed. Have those alerts on. Good things are coming. just to maybe sketching a couple more elements in the background here. Feel a bit more part of the scene. I don't know what that line is, but I'll get rid of it. Okay, so if we want to see what it was before, there it was, there it is, there it was, there it is. Okay, so we're just adding on top of this. So now I can kind of pull from the environment to start to light this. This object is behind the house, obviously, so I'm going to make a selection here and make the opposite selection. And now I can use this to mask everything if I want. So on the group itself, I could use it as a mask. But I think what I'll do is just maintain that selection, just because I haven't been the most organized. Making a nice soft brush now. Nice big soft brush. We're going to add some shading to our object here. Okay, now remember you can always play with the opacity if need be. Actually, what I should have done here, let's go back a couple steps, and I want to multiply my selection so this object is selected. And let's get this layer right down here. Okay, perfect. Definitely not bad living here. No, I wasn't trying to mess with you necessarily. Geese. All right, so play with the opacity. We'll drop that down. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, okay. And layer order is a little funky here. The problem with not being organized is sometimes you just forget where everything is. There we go. Okay. So sometimes you forget where everything is, so you kind of have to come back in and make it work. All right. So on top of the structure, we're adding some shadow. I want to play with some light. So I'm just going to pick the color from the sky a little bit. Am I adding anything to the foreground? I could. Maybe something over here. Robot, car, I don't know. We'll figure it out. So picking this light gray, and now if I switch my layer blending, I'll start with overlay for now. But I want just that blue on these surfaces. Okay, or on our pipe here. Actually, I'm going to use another brush for this. Where are you? There we go. So I'm going to use this. Yeah, let's go ahead and use that. Just a dirty airbrush. And now I'll start to just add highlights where I need them. Also a great way to just add some texture. We'll have another layer that we use to Black Ross Robo statue. Maybe we'll do that. But a great way to just add some texture to the drawing, painting, whatever this is. If I make it really big, then I can get some texture going. Drop the opacity way down. Oops. Keep painting. Just build up. Yeah, the perspective on top here is a little bit weird, so I'm probably gonna have to fix that, which is kind of annoying, but maybe I can get away with a little cheat if Rodrigo's not looking. Apparently he has an eagle eye. Alright. Let's see here. Just checking how long I've been going. Okay, cool. So we're making alright time. Ooh, windmills. That's right. What more could you want with all that? That is so true. Alright, let's switch to a different brush and play with it. Like I said, my apologies, guys. I'm kind of mid-process of doing some stuff. Alright, so lots of good stuff coming, but I'm not the most organized today. I'll just say that. Alright, just keep building up some value here. Have a plan for the lighting on the front. Too worried about that. I'll just paint over what was here. This will help this all blend a little bit better. Oh shoot, paper here for the Instagrammers. Yeah, if you want to catch the full thing, head on over to youtube.com/sketchaday.com. That's where I'm hanging out today. Just doing a quick photo overlay sketch. It's actually somewhere close to where I live. So if you know where this is, don't show up and try to get rid of me. That would not be. I almost said. YouTube's just really touchy about what you say, so I always try to be careful. Hopefully you guys caught the Friday show. I had a friend of mine, Saul Santos, join the show, did a little interview, and he talked about his career as a footwear designer. Just the idea of, you know, being a good person, hustling, working hard, all those things, and how they pay off. So hopefully you caught that. If not, I will be uploading the replay later. Once I get a minute to breathe. Just been going nonstop lately. But it's good. You know, when work is fun, it never feels like work, which I guess is somewhat dangerous at the same time, because, you know, you need to take from time to time as well. But I am certainly having fun, and I hope you guys are. I am almost to the point. Well, I do have one student signed up. I felt like it was time to start offering tutoring. So if you guys are interested in, hit me up. We can talk about it. It's kind of on a per case basis right now. So if you're interested, let me know. So yeah, just building up values here a little bit. Painting is a little bit different than sketching in that you have to build your values, textures, and so forth. You know, so I'm just trying to get a nice base mid-tone here, and then start to add the contrast and whatnot. Mauricio, am I using a new Cintiq and did I already make a review? I have not made a review of it. I can. For sure. Remy is asking, what am I trying to accomplish? So I started with a photo like that, and I'm trying to add to the photo to create some sort of sci-fi looking thing because it is Sci-Fi Sunday. And I just thought, it'd be fun to do it. So that's what I'm doing. We're just painting, it's not your traditional industrial design, product design stream today. So imagine if there was an older home, or structure rather, and then, kind of decided to add to it. That's kind of the vibe I'm trying to create here. So starting with a photo allows me to have the perspective already set up. If you're fortunate enough to have, then they can correct you on your perspective and make sure you're doing it the right way. So yeah, here I'm trying to just get values and color, right? So I'm pulling from the scene a bit, trying to put colors, that way it feels more cohesive. Even the green from the tree here, super helpful. Zoom in a little bit. On these, I like to start by drawing a little zoomed out, and then as you get closer to the end, I'll show you my hand on the overhead so you can kind of see what I'm doing and how fast I'm moving. But once you have the values, those base colors, it's a lot easier to then add to your scene, add elements, things, maybe these are some wires, and we'll come back and add highlights where we need them and so forth. But that's basically how I'm working, what I'm trying to do here on our stream today. I do have my hand on the keyboard in case you're wondering. Oops. Let's go back to that green. Okay. So yeah, a little bit of painting. Painting is one of those things I've always struggled with, and so for me, a bit of this is learning experience, but also hopefully a little instructive for you guys. A little instructive, I should say. Your mid-tone value, and then add your highlights, shadows, come back, mix, think about the surfaces on. So there's probably a few more steps here. Not a few more, a lot more. Part lines, then we'll add our lighting like that as we go. Monotech says, I'm far better drawing figures or comic art in different styles than I am at drawing cars. Yeah, I try not to shy away from challenges. This exercise is challenging, so I totally feel you on that. I wish I could draw figures better. I would argue or contest that figures are something that industrial designers don't typically do well. I have friends that do it well, so with that email or message, I'm an industrial designer and I do figures. I'm just saying it's typically that we don't do these things well as designers, industrial designers specifically. Just heard someone join the Discord, so welcome. The idea of the Discord is I want to build a community of like-minded people who enjoy sketching, visual communication, and if you need the help, support, whatever, there are people there that are just as passionate. They'll help you out, answer questions. There's the show your work section on the Discord as well. So that's the idea. You'll be able to get that help that you need, or want, rather. What do I miss from drawing on an iPad? It's been, that's such a good question. Thank you so much for asking that question. That comes from Sven. So, when the iPad Pro came out, I was like, I'm not using a Wacom again. This is bunk or whatever. And I hadn't touched a Wacom in, I don't know, 3 years or so, at least. And then I picked it up and I was like, wow. And no, they're not sponsoring me to say this. It's not like a thing or anything. But as soon as I picked it up, I was like, oh yeah, this is nice. Like, they know their stuff, is what I'll say. So it's like my thing finished here on the Instagram. Sorry. Give me just a sec, guys. All right. Well, it's there now. Let's see. Assignment 1 completed. All right, Tom. Good job. Now you just need to repeat it as many times as it takes. Just kidding. I can look at what you've submitted and I'll give you some more feedback. But Tom's on the Discord. Super active, always submitting stuff. People are giving him feedback and stuff. So if you, like I said, if you would be a part of that, check out the link in the video and you'll be able to join in, give your own feedbacks if you want, or just receive feedback. A long time ago I had a forum and a bunch of stuff, but people don't really use forums nowadays. So the Discord for me is kind of the way to... Why is the flow being interesting? Okay. I want the opacity down. There we go. Alright, there we go. I was like, why is this brush behaving weird? Somehow I was adjusting the flow and not the opacity of the brush. Alright, so I'm just shading this in, but I will add some light to this, I think. Just trying to imagine what kind of cutouts might be here. That kind of thing. Are repeatograph pens really worth the hassle? What do you mean by hassle? Tell me a little bit more about what you mean. And then I can answer your question better. So Sketch Today Live, thanks for joining. Sci-Fi Sunday, how we do. On Sundays, I like to do sci-fi related things. I like sci-fi. I love drawing robots. If you followed me for any time, you'll know that. Let's see. Put like some beacons here or something. So I'm just gonna paint in. Or maybe this beacon should be in the foreground. Maybe that's what it should be. I'll do a couple in the foreground. I'll figure out what this looks like in just a sec. I'm using a prototype brush, you could say. Yeah, it keeps adjusting the flow. That's really weird. Normally it adjusts the opacity of the brush. Anyhow, just using a prototype brush here today. Something in the foreground. Kind of help the scene out, frame things out. We'll just leave this as a placeholder. Although I did paint it on the wrong layer, so I'm gonna have to remove that, at least to a certain point. Let's just select it, put that on new layer, and now I can add my little cable lines here. And maybe another one of these beacons closer to the structure. Dumb question alert. Is the Discord community more for students, or is that your targeted demographic? In my targeted demographic, that's a good question. I'm still trying to figure that out. I've been polling people, trying to figure out who watches my stuff, when, why, how. It's a really great question, Roshan. For me, the Discord it's an opportunity to have discussion about stuff, because a lot of times on social media, all there really is room for is just quick quips, comments, things that aren't necessarily deep, robust, or valuable in terms of feedback, discussion. There's really not space to upload your own work, that kind of thing. Sorry guys, I have to check on something real quick. Give me just a sec. Okay, we're back. Sorry about choppy video stuff happening. It might still be a little choppy. My kids were decided to watch YouTube at the same time, so things get a little rough. Oh, you're in my Discord? I didn't realize you're in there, Roshan. Let's take a new layer, and now I'm gonna start, adding highlights on things. Let's go ahead and I'm gonna drop the opacity just so I can build up where I need it to be built up. Again, more of a painterly look and feel here. Just kind of a speed paint type thing. Super fast. I will say most of the, are people who want to learn to draw. So if you already know how to draw, chances are you've, moved on. But there's always people who want to learn how to draw stuff, or maybe you're watching it while, or whatever. I know some people watch it while they're working. So I'm still trying to figure that out, right? So little shortcut tip here in Photoshop: if you hold shift and draw, if you draw one point and then hold shift, click on the next point and get a straight line. Okay, so if you're wondering how I'm doing that, I guess that's the extent of a quote-unquote tool that I'll use, at least in this highlighting process here. Roshan's being a spy. I know, you should give people feedback and stuff, dude. You're good. If you haven't checked out Roshan's Instagram, you should. Feel free to drop a link, because I can't look it up right now. I could, but how rude would that be? Everyone's watching, showing off Roshan's Discord. It'd be so rude. So yeah, at this point I'm just maybe pulling out some details, enhancing things here as we go. And if you paint over the picture, it starts to help the picture feel more like a part of the whole scene. Ah, got you. Yeah, man. I didn't realize you're in there. I guess that goes to show how often I check it. I'm just trying to, who teaches at TU Delft. Just all sorts of great people in there. Remember, we would, look at Feng Zhu's sketches and see if we could do similar things, all that good stuff. So, I'm trying to think of the best way to do a texture here, because I don't want to necessarily go get one on the internet because I'm not prepared. Alright, and these lines here, I actually want those, I want these beacons to be black. Alright. Now what if the scene, in the scene we had some more light? Okay, like maybe just a parting in the clouds or something. Through and figure out what works. Sometimes it's color dodge, sometimes it's green, sometimes it's overlay. Sometimes it's linear dodge, just whatever looks good. Okay, that's kind of what I'm going for. So let's see. Oops. Yeah, I think I need, let's see. In this case, I'm going to do overlay. And we'll just drop that opacity down. And I'm going to try to think of the easiest way to do this. I'll just erase part of the light here. The thing with Photoshop or any digital program, there's always like a ton of ways to do the same thing, right? And you just kind of have to pick what works for you and roll with that. Okay, so I'm gonna use my trackpad here. I just want to create a dot. And now let's take this dot, make it wide, put it on the grass, like so. I'll even duplicate it, rotate it, move it up here. So like I said, maybe just like a little parting in the clouds. Something like that. I'll probably crop this image in. Might as well do that now. Just make it, make it a little bit less like the size of a piece of paper. More of a 16:9. Like so. And now I want to add some texture to my structure. Of course, underneath all this light that we added, let's see, I'm gonna just group these together. I think it's those. Call it light. Okay. So now new layer, and for my brush, I'm gonna use this dirty airbrush that I made. Just gotta make sure it's the right one. So go back to my dirty airbrush here. I think I lost it. Easier to find over here. Just make it nice and big. And then now, this layer I want to set to multiply. We'll set it there to start. I can adjust the opacity and just start to, kind of texture things with the brush. When am I becoming an architect? Asked Tom. Not my intention, not my plan at all. What do I like about Procreate that Photoshop doesn't do and vice versa? Procreate has the quick line tool, which I don't use very often, but I did miss it last night. I was designing some things, I'll just say some stuff for a client, and I needed to do a bunch of ellipses, and I kind of missed it for a minute. I mean, I got it done, but I definitely missed it for a little bit. I do like the touch functionality. I guess I could get that if I bought the right tablet, so it's not really a fault with Photoshop. I haven't done enough exploration on the tilt here to see if that's something that is possible. Meaning if I tilt my stylus, so you know, somewhat like this, if I tilt it, is it going to affect my stroke? I haven't messed with that with this Wacom yet. And I don't know if that's a thing with Photoshop per se. One thing I do like about Photoshop as opposed to... Why are you giving me grief? Photoshop as opposed to Procreate is Procreate has layer limits, whereas Photoshop, you can make a file with 1,000 layers if your computer can handle it. But I feel like those limits are a lot more frequent, you could say, on Procreate than they are on Photoshop. So all right, I'm just making a selection here because I'm adding kind of this greenish light, starting to anyways, and oops, there we go. So I'll just kind of paint this in like so. I know I'm not on the right layer, but I can always make a selection like so just to clean it up, and then back way down on the opacity. Let's do a little color dodge, make a new layer, and now I'm going to take a pencil and just kind of add to things. You know, stuff like this. If there's light coming from this, it's gonna affect other objects, so you'll have a little bit of a glow. Yeah, I got to figure out what to do with here. I don't really know. And probably something I'll finish, you know, later, or because I don't want to bore you guys too much with the same drawing. Or, I mean, if you want to see me take this to like a higher fidelity, that's something I can do as well. This, I don't love spending a long time on a drawing, so it's certainly part of it. Part of my thinking, I should say. So Sketch Day Live, thanks for joining. We're live on Wednesdays, Sundays, Fridays. Today is Sunday, so of course we're live. I think I'm gonna add some fog over the building, maybe just a little bit. All right. You know, if something's glowing under here, at least on this edge. something like that. And let's see, I kind of want some foliage, things like that, you know, maybe something in the foreground, just to kind of help this out. But let's just finish up here. I feel like it's kind of in this weird in between, painterly and sketchy, and so I've got to kind of do a few things to kind of bring it back. So not really feeling that. Okay, there we go, that's better. So just something to here and there pull it back into sketchland, so to speak, or at least sketchy, speedy color painting thing. Whatever that looks like. Alright, we'll just add some, I mean, this really goes back to, I think I've mentioned this before, but if you draw big, right, you don't have to worry so much about details, because when I zoom out of what I'm doing here, you'll see that it adds detail to the area, but because I'm zoomed out, it makes it feel more cohesive and all together. Alright, I'm gonna lock this light stuff. Let's lock that group so I can pick my blue here. It's a little bit too blue under there. Just a little bit. Alright, so what if the house here, or not house, what if this structure had like some green mossy stuff on it? I'm gonna take from the foreground, and I'll take this stuff and we'll use it up here. You know, maybe part of this has some stuff growing on it. Just kind of chop that together, and let's go ahead and play with some blending mode, see what we like. Alright, that looks pretty good. Now I can erase, I think. Why is it not letting me erase? Oop, wrong layer. Alright, so erase a little bit. Okay, add some texture. Then I also want to erase using pretty airbrush for now. I've got more coming. Just something I'm working on. Alright, eraser. Keep going back to the brush panel, but why is it doing this? Keeps going back to brush. Eraser. Oh, okay. Gotcha. Photoshop was messing with me. Okay, now it should work. What? Eraser. I'm supposed to be able, okay, there we go. I'm supposed to be able to use any brush to erase, but it keeps switching back to the brush here. Alright. That's annoying. I'll have to figure that one out. That's a weird thing. That's really weird. It's like I can't. Some of that, yeah, this is really weird. Okay, well, I'm gonna ignore this for now, and we'll just keep going. if you don't know what I'm talking about, historically when I've used Photoshop, I'm able to take any brush and use that as an eraser, but for whatever reason it's just not letting me do that right now. So can't figure out what's happening there. All right, let's go ahead and light just a little bit of this little probe thing. So I've picked the same bluish color for the cloud, right? Because that's where the light's coming from. Just using this to light our objects like so. We'll get highlights in where we need them. Yeah, it's really weird. If you guys know what I'm talking about, it's really, really weird. So if you know why that is, let me know. Let me know the error of my ways. The other thing I did this week, and I'll get this video up, is if you've been watching the channel, I designed and modeled, meaning in a 3D computer-aided design program, made my own pair of sunglasses, and I actually 3D printed those. So I'll show the process of what that involved and also putting them together. So I'll show that in a video if you're curious about that. I guess I could upload the file. We'll see. Yeah, this is really weird. The app's like doing weird stuff today. Monotech says, are repeatographs really worth the cleaning? I don't know because I don't use them, but if anyone has and wants to chime in, feel free. Let me know. All right, so I've got this thing going on. Let's see if I can take some of these clouds from the original photo. Okay, so there's our original photo. I've got, I guess this was a panoramic photo, but I'm gonna take some of these clouds. We'll see what we can do here. And maybe, yeah, I think I can use these. So let's desaturate, and then I'm gonna crank the levels up here. Let's transform this and flip it, because I want to create a little bit of a fog effect. I mean, if Photoshop will let me erase with my dang textured brush here. It's so weird. It is so weird. Yeah, eraser. Wow, this is really odd. Okay, I guess I have to pick it from here. This is just different. I think maybe just there's just some weird glitch in my Photoshop. Yeah, well, no, it's not letting me do it. This is odd. Okay, eraser. I'm supposed to be able to hit my brush here and then pick something. Okay, it's letting me use that one. It's just not letting me use the airbrush. So I think I'll just mask it for now. I never use masks, but I'm gonna use a mask now. Let's turn this to screen. You'll kind of see what happens. Alright, so I have this mask selected. And like I said, I want there to be a little bit of fog. I'll figure out what's wrong with the app here. It might just be that I need to reset or reload my Photoshop a little bit. Okay, so we can kind of play with this a little bit, see what works. You know, maybe there's some ground fog too. Play with the opacity. Do I do online courses? You know, it's a good question. Why are you guys making me spill all the beans? Yes, I'm working on that. So hang tight. What would you be interested in though? I'm curious. If I were to do something online, what for you would you be interested in? Like, is it basic stuff? Is it stuff like this? What would you be most interested in? Thanks, Tom. All right, so we got some fog up in there. We've got our main thing. I feel like I need more contrast in the structure. So I'm gonna see if I can help that a little bit. So select my structure here, and then below the light and above everything else, I'm just gonna start, let's see. Maybe I can do a gradient actually. Maybe I can just do a gradient here. Something like that, just to help with the contrast. And then, yes, absolutely, that is coming. Which I guess by me announcing that now puts the pressure on, but that's one of the things I am working on. And I'll do it in a way that makes sense for everyone. One thing I've found with courses is they can be very expensive. So I want to make sure if I do something, it is accessible. Let's see here. Let's do multiply. Drop my opacity. Yeah, my keyboard shortcuts aren't working as well as they normally. I don't know. I think this session of Photoshop's just a little messed up right now. Anyhow, courses can be expensive, so there's that. And then, you know, trying to decide like who wants to see what makes sense, all things worth considering. Ultimately, I hope not have those be limited just to drawing. Like it might be how to land your first design job. That's a course, you know, things like that. So, yeah, exciting stuff ahead. I'm having fun. Hopefully you are. Appreciate all the contributions, like I said. Shout out to the Patreons and others who've contributed. Not everyone's a Patreon, and that's okay. If you do, I will send you a sticker, however. Just a token of appreciation, you could say. To say thank you for your support. Adding a little bit of shadow here. This I will knock the opacity down on, so I'm not super worried about it. I probably should finish this little conduit on the outside of the building here as well. All right, Tom. Sounds good. In the meantime, while I am getting that ready, I do offer tutoring as well. So if you need, let me know. Be happy to help out there. Okay, I'm just trying to, like I said, get some shadow here. Yeah, all my keyboard commands are weird and I don't know why. It's like even my shortcut to change the opacity on a layer isn't working today. But I promise you it works normally. If you play with the number keys while you're using Photoshop, all right, something like that. I could probably spend another, I don't know, a few hours on it. This area in particular, let me just erase a bit. You know, some of the lighting, all that stuff I could work on, but we're gonna move on to our next sketch, which will probably be the last sketch. So I'm gonna do something robot related. So throw me some ideas. I'll keep this one a bit more sketchy. So save this. Let's see. Save this file. I'll just save it to my desktop for now. And now I'll make a new file. I usually just do the print default, which is 11 by 17 tabloid. Something like that. Wait, I think someone asked for some sort of alien drone droid thing. I haven't done one of those in a while, so are those cool. I'm gonna start similar to the way I would on paper. I'm just gonna start with like a quick, what I consider to be gray marker sketch, or just a silhouette sketch. Okay, so if you're thinking of some creature or whatever, one way to do this, I think I've done this before, is you can just put shapes down. You know, you may have some idea in your head of what this thing is or does, but you're kind of just putting stuff down to start. Not really, so let me do another one. Let's think. Let me know if you guys have any ideas, by the way, on this creature. There was one earlier. Let me see if I can find it in the chat. If you did miss the interview with Saul, shoe designer, you can check that out on the channel as well. Let's see, an avatar would be nice. Oblivion style vehicle. I could do some sort of vehicle instead of an alien thing. When I think of Oblivion, I think of you know, the bubble copter thing. I think that's what it was called, the bubble copter. Not copter, bubble copter. Or bubble ship. But I think of that. You know, that was pretty sweet. So I could do something like that. Maybe just a quick warm-up here for doing some vehicles after that giant structure thing I did. Now, every method, means, tool has its advantages, right? So you kind of want to think about what you're working with and then figure out a way to leverage what it's good at. In this case, you know, I've done a sketch. I can make it bigger, smaller, whatever. If I want to set it on a scene, I could. I have an idea here. So maybe I scale it down and then I'm like, oh, it's actually kind of perched, much like the movie Oblivion, on this cliff thing. You could do that. Now I want to go back and watch the movie. But much like I would with gray markers in real life, I can take this very light brush and just plan. Okay, here's what I'm going to do. Here's what I'm going to include. Knock the opacity back and then get a nice crisp sketch in. You know, thinking about my perspective lines as well, kind of map these out. One thing Scott Robertson does in his drawings is a lot of times he'll map out his perspective, right? Just kind of helps. And then when you're ready to draw your final thing, I haven't seen the movie in a long time, so if I'm doing it a disservice by doing this, let me know. I'm also not using any tools, but there are things I can do to kind of help me here. Like undo. Actually, let me get my perspective line in, like 2. Right, so I've got an axis here. Got my bubble. Yeah, I think with digital, one of the things my brain does is I immediately go into, oh, I can undo that. I can undo that. And so it makes it really hard to be as confident as I am on paper. On paper, you kind of just have to approach it with, okay, that's the line you drew, that's the line you get. Whereas digitally, you know I can undo, tweak things here and there. Maybe we'll do one more after this. I'll try and do that creature thing. Sound not clear? Wait, can you guys hear me? Yes, no? Let me know. Jachin is asking, what is this a sketch of? I'm just doing some little sci-fi ship on a cliff or something. Tom says he debated a flat earther once and stormed off saying he'd walk to the edge of the earth. Okay, that's hilarious. Yeah, I don't remember what this ship looked like, but I remember it definitely had a very light kind of feel to it. I want to try and replicate that a little bit. And I'll just use some gray to shade this one. So I'm not going to go full color or anything like that. But I think Sundays I'm going to keep as a digital show so that you guys know, hey, if I want to see Spencer do digital stuff, whether it's sci-fi stuff, other things, if you come by on a Sunday, that's what you're going to get. It's me sketching digitally on an iPad or like I am today on this Wacom Cintiq. I'm like super into very primitive shapes right now with rational transitions. That's kind of my jam right now. Almost like this designer aesthetic. So I'm trying to see if I can make that work in this case. Just a thing. Maybe it won't work here. Still want this to feel light. Need some rocket launch. Oh, sorry. Sorry if it's kind of quiet. I'm gonna pull this mic very close to me. Can you guys hear me better now? Let me know if you can. If you can, then I'll know for sure that it was my something else. But I'll fix the audio in post for the replay. If you missed something, you can catch it there. Let's just do a... Actually, if this is a bubble ship, that is very small for my cabin. I feel like I'm bungling this. So I'll do one more sketch after this, and then I'll call it good. So if you have an idea, I think someone wanted some like alien creature type thing, I can do that. Could be a sci-fi product. I don't really want to do products necessarily though. So let me know. You know, maybe this door hatch has a nice blend into the main ship body. So there you can kind of see what we have. I'm going to shrink it just a little bit, like so. Now give me some room. I'll give me some room to add these environmental things. Like I said, I wanted it to feel like it was on some cliffside. Also, I can tweak the perspective. If I just am careful, okay, I can actually distort this a little bit, tweak the perspective, pull things in. Oops. I lost all that work. And then use the warp tool here to kind of just fix things as we need. Okay, so just another trick for you if you are working in Photoshop. You can do this in Procreate as well. FYI. So if you need to kind of tweak a sketch a little bit, you can do that. You know, maybe we've landed on some planet or something. Okay, this doesn't feel as bad. I was a little bit worried. I mean, I'm not the biggest fan of the design, but it is what it is. Do something related to an Avatar movie. Jakin. Okay, Jakin, my apologies. Okay, good. The audio is clear. Someone was saying that the audio was not clear before. So, just making sure. So I just wanted to add some texture, dots, detail. You know, maybe this is some texture on the surface, could be ports, whatever the case may be. Just adding this. If you're doing a gray style rendering, which you'll see here in just a sec, you kind of have to make sure you have really good lines or acceptable lines, but also any textures you want to include. Try and see what you can do with your pencil first. All right, I'm just gonna rotate this. And then now I can do it. Yeah, it's really weird it wouldn't let me use this certain brush as an eraser. I'm gonna have to look into that. Because I did try some different settings with that brush. Because if that's the case, then that is certainly a first for me using Photoshop. I was trying to erase with a certain brush and it wouldn't let me do it. In case you're wondering what I'm talking about. So for this to really be like a Daniel Simon drawing, like I said, probably would have to do some 3D on top of this. I'm using a Cintiq connected to Photoshop. Hello, Jose, welcome. Something related to the Avatar movie. I don't know what that would be. Okay, let's see if I can do this now. Alright, cool. So this brush works. So I want a nice big brush, and let's go ahead and drop the opacity down of this layer. And now I'm just gonna subtly start giving these bodies some coarse shadows, like so. At least that's based on what I've observed Monsieur Daniel's drawings. I met him once in person. Interesting guy. He kind of brushed me off though. Just like, okay, whatever. Whoever you are, whatever. So that left a weird taste in my mouth personally. Which goes back to Friday's discussion with Saul. You want to make sure you work on those relationships that you have. Not that he needed to have my relationship. I don't know, maybe. Maybe I'll make it big and then he'll be like, yo, Spence, you want to work with me? I'll be like, no, man. You brushed me off. Why would I work with you? Why? Tell me why. Okay, just playing with the opacity there. I'm going to back off the opacity of this one even more. Like so. And now let's just do a quick shadow. Let me think about this. Okay, I'll just use the polygonal lasso tool here. Actually, let's start with the marquee tool. All right, and now let's get the body in. And I'll just go ahead and paint in under the landing gear here. Like so. It's a little tail fin. Alright, and erase what you don't need. I'm just making this a little darker so I can see where I need to erase. And on this cliff side, because this is just all gray, I'll also make that gray, maybe erase a little bit there. And take a soft eraser. Erase a little bit down here. The Discord's going crazy, but I haven't checked yet. At least I think it's my Discord. Might be another one. All right, a little bit on the mountains. Just like that. All right. Okay, so there is my quick spaceship type thing. You know, with maybe just a little bit of graphics on this tail rudder thing. Also, I can make the inside a little darker as well, so I'm gonna make a selection here. Let's make a selection, we'll make that darker. If you want, you can keep layering, so if there was like a silhouette of a person, for example, in this cockpit, just make a selection. Play with the opacity. Okay, and now I've got at least some indication of something up front in the craft. And once the gray is there, if you need to, you can also add white. Just rotating my canvas. All right, Sketch Day Live. Thanks again for joining. If you do want to punch your, like, even this shadow core, again, I have this will be out soon, but I will have brushes that you guys can use to do pretty much the same thing. All right, so if I want to punch that shadow core, I can. Oops. Same thing on the top. I feel like the stock brushes in any app aren't ever what I want. So I always make my own brushes. I do try to keep my tool set somewhat simple if I can, but at the same time, I do like to go through the trouble of making my own because I feel like it makes a big difference, particularly where, you know, with digital sketching, it's easy for everything to kind of look the same. Like you may have bought some brushes for someone or whatever, or from someone. And so even taking the time to manipulate things kind of helps. But yeah, I missed Photoshop. This is this is kind of fun. And this is also Sketch Day Live. We only got 2 sketches today, guys. I'm so sorry. I thought I was gonna go a little faster with the other one, but that's okay. Next time, I got you. It's really been interesting seeing Photoshop over the years too, because at least when I started drawing in Photoshop, the brush engine was not that great. And now, frankly, it feels pretty much like Sketchbook Pro, which has a great brush engine. Corel Painter as well, always had a great brush engine. I just think it was something that wasn't a priority for them more recently, so we'll just keep working this a little bit and then we'll call it good, I think. So on the opposite side here, I just want to add a little bit of airbrushing. Wrong brush. Let's see, let's do my highlighter here. Perfect. Do this in white. So this is above the sketch, okay? Which means that it's going to obscure the sketch lines just a little bit. It's a nice touch I like to add to my sketches. Sometimes. Not always, sometimes. And since this leg is in the background, I'm just gonna make these kind of a silhouetted dark shape. Alright, so just black. We can adjust the opacity here, make it as dark or light as we need. The darker it is, the more it fades into the background. So that's the idea with that. Alright, a little bit of gray on the bottom here, just to help with the contrast. And one more thing I want to do. Let's go to filter, noise. Oops. Filter, noise. Add noise. I'm just going to add some noise to... Yeah, there it is. So it adds a little bit of texture, okay, to your drawings. Very subtle. But I think it's one of those things that can help your sketch not feel so digital and dead. Yeah, I'm really gonna have to look into to what's happening with the brush, because it was working fine and then all of a sudden I couldn't erase with the brushes I wanted to erase with. Really weird. Really, really weird. Couple texture dots on the ground here. Again, like I mentioned, since it's a black and white drawing with a little bit of gray, an homage to Mr. Simon, I want to make sure my lines are good, that I have or can draw texture where I need to. Maybe some text here. All right. Okay, guys. Well, thank you. Just to recap, here's our first sketch. Here's our second sketch. You also saw my little social media ad. So this is our first sketch slash painting that we did. Okay, just took a picture of an old building near my home and decided to, add to it. If you want to see the before and after, also be sure to check out the Google Drive if you want this file. I'll upload the PSD file, so you can download the PSD file, see the layers, play with it. But there's that old structure near where I live, and let's hide these brushes. So there it is before, and there it is after. Before, after. Okay, just like that. So using photos sometimes, if you're dreaming something up, can be a quick way to get it done. There's a lot more work I probably would or should do to this to make it work, but given just a quick hour, didn't quite get to get done everything I wanted to get done. Say that 10 times. And then here's our second sketch right there. Something inspired by the movie Oblivion, maybe another little bubble copter type thing. Probably need to modify the design. If this were a serious thing, I'd do several versions of this, but just a quick sketch here, a little bit of context, environment, gray shading, and a simple presentation. All right, guys. Well, that's it for today. I hope you had fun. I do want to mention something real quick, so bear with me. On the website, we also have stuff for you. So I do have these stickers available. Using Procreate, there's the brush pack 1 and 2. There's going to be a Photoshop brush pack coming soon as well, so you can check that out. But also check out the blog. This is where I'm going to be posting thoughts, things, articles, things to help you. I've got a good one coming up this week. At least I think it's good, so we'll see. So you can check that out. Okay, here's the Marker Caddy project as well. So that's there. I am going to be adding the tutoring section. If you ever wonder what I use, you can always go to sketchaday.com/stuff, which is this link. I am adding a section on 3D printing, since a lot of you have been asking about my 3D printer and my process and all of that stuff. So that's coming soon as well. But if you're curious about markers, technology, how I stream, even information about the studio, the cameras I use, whatnot, you can find all of that there as well. What's up, Matt? I'm sending your sketch, by the way. Thanks for that support. And then let's see. Sketches just takes you to a page where you can kind of see all my Instagram stuff typically. But I am going to be redoing this so that it has high resolution images that aren't the Instagram stuff. Okay, so that's going to be updated. And then newsletter, of course. If you worry about missing something, I am about to release actually my first update via newsletter. So that's just a way for me to connect directly to you. So you'll want to you also get a discount code for the store if you sign up for that newsletter. So check that out. Let me know what you think. Feedback is always welcome. So if there's something you like, let me know. If there's something you don't like, keep it to yourself. Just kidding. If there's something you don't like, let me know. I'm happy to take a look at it, make some changes, because I believe in continuous improvement, always trying to make changes around here. All right, thanks guys. Appreciate you hanging with me, and I'll see you next time on Sketch-A-Day. Deuces.